And Stephen, I'm going to call you back up here too, and Nolan, you can't run away. But if anyone would like to describe how they feel that they're going to be able to describe their neighborhood to someone 5 years from now, how do you hope to be able to describe where you live 5 years from now?
It's a bustling, healthy community where people are welcome and they can come and find work if they want to, and it's affordable living. So, come on.
All right. Anyone else? How would they describe it? How they want to describe it 5 years from now?
I would like a 20-minute neighborhood where I can walk. A 20-minute walk, I could get my laundry done. I could get groceries I won't have to sell a kid to purchase because Whole Foods is ridiculously expensive. And that it's safe.
Take the kids to school?
Yeah. A great community where everyone is welcome, no matter what your income is. We're all just living and enjoying 5 years from now.
Well, I'm coming back to the block club. You know I am. And 5 years from now, what do you want your neighborhood? How do you want to describe your neighborhood?
There are no new neighbors. They're all old, that they all just become part of it. That's the whole idea of a neighborhood, is that when somebody moves in, you know who they are, they know who you are. It's not like you keep eyes on everybody, but you become a community.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else before we kind of wrap things up a little bit?
Anytime we do these roundtables, no matter where it is, I think the theme is similar and the conflicts are similar. Change is hard, change is disruptive, and change has to be managed in a way that doesn't frighten people and makes people feel included and safe.
And do you think, Stephen, the city has done a better job in the last 10 years of when there is change in neighborhoods? Is there been a better job done listening to what the people who live in the neighborhoods really want to see?
I think there is better infrastructure now to be able to allow people to have a voice in the process of change than there has been, right? And there are a number of reasons that's true. One is the community benefits ordinance, which was pretty controversial when it was passed, but I think if you look at the examples of where it's been used, it really has given people a voice that they didn't have before. It's not perfect. There are some tweaks that probably need to be made. And then the approach of the administration and the council to these things, I think, has changed pretty dramatically as well. And so change looks different in the city now than it did 10 or 15 years ago. And it looks different in every neighborhood, and that's the way it should be, because every neighborhood has their own idiosyncrasies and differences that should be taken into account when dramatic change happens.
And Nolan, after covering news here for what, 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, 50 years, we're going to keep adding, and especially business, what are you going to be looking for in the next 2 years in terms of storylines and things that you guys are going to be covering?
Well, I think in terms of development, I mean, there's still a lot of vacant land that people are sitting on. That's true in the downtown core, starting to be true in neighborhoods like this one. As people sense a heat, they start speculating, start hanging on to land. The cities, there's a demand for property in Detroit. There's demand for development. The city's going to have to do a better job of encourage people either to put their land to use or get off of it.
Stephen, what are you going to be looking for in the next couple of years?
I mean, I think the challenge in Detroit right now is the development of human capital, right? We are turning the corner in terms of investment in property, in developments and things like that, and becoming a more sort of normal space for those things. But we still are leaving a lot of our residents behind by not matching that investment in them. It's really great to see how that is playing out here in Corktown with Ford. I think that's being accounted for in a really important way. You still have a lot of communities in the city where that's just not happening the way that it should yet.
And I think talent development, human development's a key. There is enough money coming into Detroit right now in terms of development. I think last figure I heard was $8 or $9 billion, either underway and coming in the future. That's enough money to greatly reduce poverty in the city, to put a lot of people into work, to rebuild the strong middle class this city once had.
And a lot of
that
training
should be
programs.
Our goal. It should be our goal.